Stop everything. This Bible secret will transform your life. I know what it's like when the weight is so heavy you can't breathe, when the voices, external and internal, won't stop. When just pray about it feels like the most useless advice ever. But what if this devotion isn't offering you a band-aid? What if it's offering you a firm solution? Take a breath, because what I'm about to tell you will only work if you actually believe you're worth fighting for. In this devotion for motion, we are answering one question. Are you an overcomer or are you overwhelmed? Because here's the truth. You can't be both. And the difference isn't your circumstances. It's not how bad the bullying is. It's not how deep the depression goes. The difference is what you are telling yourself when those circumstances attack. I am the Pilgrim Preacher, and this is Devotion for Motion, where we walk the deeper path that goes beyond the daily grind. Let's dive into what Scripture actually says about overcoming. Our upcoming passage is Psalm 143. Let's start with defining overwhelmed. This isn't just feeling stressed. Being overwhelmed means someone has convinced you that your circumstances are bigger than your God. It's when bullying stops being something that happens to you and becomes the voice inside you. It's when depression stops being a feeling you have and becomes the identity you wear. Who told you that you were weak? Who said you couldn't overcome this? Who gave them permission to define your identity? Because last time I checked, they're not the author of your story. I invite you to drop a comment. What's the negative narrative that you have been believing about yourself? In this caring community, it may help to share your story. In this Devotion for Motion, Overcomer or Overwhelmed, we examine Psalm 143. The biblical King David was riding high on the wings of the Spirit, but then some unkind people knocked him out of the saddle. They pushed him into the mud and kicked him while he was down. David is being persecuted by his enemies. His soul is tormented. His spirit is overwhelmed. His heart is desolate within him. He feels depressed. He feels overwhelmed. He feels absolutely like giving it all up and going down. David is saying, I am persecuted on all sides. I am in great distress. I need God to hide me and keep me close. We too need to be close to God, or we will be overwhelmed by our adversaries. The advances of the flesh, the advances of the world, and the advances of dark forces. We can even be overwhelmed by self-condemnation, which leads to guilt and depression. When darkness rises sooner or later, we find that there is limited help in humanity. We realize that we must turn to God to be overcomers. If we do not turn to God, we will be overwhelmed by negative pressures. God would prefer that we be overcomers rather than overwhelmed and falling into depression. God desires for us to be victorious. We see that David yearns for divine assistance. He says, I remember the days of old. I meditate on all your works. I recall, God, that you have done a powerful and wonderful work in my life. I remember those times, and they bring revival to my soul. I acknowledge that you are the one who has delivered me in the past. And now I stretch forth my hands because my soul is thirsty like a dry land. Stay with me. The Bible's solution is coming up. Psalm 143 describes what it takes to be an overcomer. In verses 1 and 7 it states, Hear me speedily, O Lord. David implores the Lord, Hear my prayer. Hear me speedily. Lord, I am in great distress. I am being overwhelmed. The waters are rising above my head. I am passing through the fire. I need you. Otherwise, I will be overwhelmed and fall into great darkness. I need you to hear me speedily, urgently, immediately. Otherwise, I am history. David acknowledges that God is omnipotent. He is all-powerful. David turns to the only one who can truly help him. Man's assistance can provide cold comfort, and while women's hugs are supportive, they can only go so far. However, God is the one who can truly make a difference. Jehovah is always present, waiting for us to call on him. God is omnipresent and wants us to pray to him and to spend time on our knees in his presence. Psalm 143 says in verses 8 and 9, Let me hear your loving kindness in the morning, for I trust in you. Show me the path I should walk, for I lift up my soul to you. Deliver me, O Lord, from my foes. I flee to you for refuge. Paraphrasing David's supposition, he expresses a desire for his heart to be moved by divine loving kindness. I need your comfort and to hear your loving kindness in the morning. Criticism, rebukes, and attacks on my innocence are coming from every direction. Hurt and hatred are directed at me from all sides. I feel utterly alone, and I am barely hanging on. I need to feel loving kindness. I need to be comforted. When I wake up, I want to awaken close to a divine bosom. I need to know that somebody loves me. In the morning, I need to trust in the love you have for me. I know that your love for me is unchanging. Continuing to paraphrase David's state of affairs, he says, I have no sense of direction in this darkness, so cause me to know the way where I should walk. Give me some light upon my path today. Also deliver me from my foes. I flee to the divine tower to hide myself. I am overwhelmed by those who persecute me. I am overwhelmed with condemnation and guilt. I am overwhelmed with darkness from people with negative energy. I am so overwhelmed with depression. Lord, please deliver me. You are my refuge. You are my hiding place. You are my strong tower. Set me free to serve you, for there is no other help. Thus David cries out, Lord, in my time of trouble, I need to know that you love me, that you are watching over me, and that you will be there for me. Sorrow makes us deaf. We need to hear God's music to prepare us for the day. We need to know that God will deliver us, work through us, and be constant throughout the day. He who made the ear will help us to hear. He who is love will bring his loving kindness to our hearts. He who gave us his comforting presence will provide his assurance. So, David prays to God, not only to hear him, not only to enable him, but also to deliver him. Psalm 143:10. Teach me to do your will, for you are my God. Your spirit is good. Lead me into the land of uprightness. So not only hear me, not only cause me, not only deliver me, but teach me and lead me. God's will is found in his sacred verses, accompanied by the guiding Spirit. David is saying, teach me to do your will. I want to walk in your plan. Teach me what your plan is for my life right now. Give me some direction. Your Spirit is good. The ministry of your Spirit is to lead me and help me walk in your presence. Lord, I belong to you, and the closer I get to your vision, the more I will see. And the closer I get to understanding you, the more I can walk in victorious light. Teach me what you want me to do. Breaking down this passage, we see what we should do. How childlike, teach me. How practical to do. How loyal, your will. God desires to lead us to a higher plane, to be upright and holy, as he is holy. David wanted God to guide him to that elevated place. The plateau is where we can see clearly, enabling us to look in every direction. We are out of the dark canyons and valleys, and we are on the high plateau. David yearned for that expansive place filled with the Spirit, that joyous peak atop the mountain of worship. He craved to be up there and sought a divine guide to help carry him the way. We need God to take us to that higher place, to free us from overwhelming circumstances. For if we are under contention, we will be overwhelmed. David says, Lord, lift me up to a higher place, that plateau where I will be over the circumstances. I'll be living above the situations, and I will be with you in your presence. I want to be an overcomer. Psalm 143 verse 11. Quicken me, O Lord, for your name's sake. For your righteousness' sake, bring my soul out of trouble. In verse 11, David is expressing a desire for revival, saying, Quicken me. He is asking to revive his soul and spirit, to experience God's refreshing presence. He seeks renewal within himself so that he may once again be filled with strength and power. It's encouraging when we can acknowledge that our understanding is ready to learn more. It's uplifting when we can say that the will is prepared to refer to God, and the whole person is eager to please him. We need that revival to become overcomers. We require God's revival to restore zeal in our hearts and fire in our bones. We need God's life, as well as his light and guidance. We must get closer to God. Psalm 143 verse 12 states that God is our master and we are his servants. We seek God in this time because we are his servants and he cares for us. David desired his master to protect him and grant him victory, to be an overcomer while he faced conflicts. David had been knocked down by unkind people. Here he stands as a wounded soldier, yearning for heart healing. David sought revival, to rise and continue the marathon once again. As a servant of God fighting life's battles and striving to live godly, you will also experience times when you feel overwhelmed. Remember, God wants you to be an overcomer. He doesn't want you to be overwhelmed or drawn into long-term depression. And in the times when we feel ourselves succumbing to oppression and slipping into depression, we need to remember the following steps. We need to cry out, saying, "Hear me." And we need to cry out, "Cause me." Then we need to cry out and say, "Deliver me." Next, we need to say, "Teach me," and "Lead me." And lastly, "Quicken me." The bullies don't want you to hear this next part, so lean in close, because this is where everything changes. So you need to turn to Psalm 143 and follow the same sequence of steps when you feel overwhelmed. I want to conclude with 3 steps to overcoming. Step 1. First, you have to identify the negative narrative. What's the narrative playing on repeat? I'm not enough. Nobody cares. It'll never get better. Name it. Write it down, because you can't overcome what you won't acknowledge. Step 2. Find the biblical truth that counters that negative narrative. This isn't about memorizing random verses. This is about finding the specific promise of God that counters your specific battle. Struggling with fear, battling loneliness, drowning in shame? The Bible has the solution. Step 3, and this is where most people quit. You have to speak it out loud, not just think it, speak it. We overcome by the word of our testimony. Your voice has power. When you declare God's truth over your life, you're not just reminding yourself, you're putting the foe on notice. This has been a great talk about being an overcomer. Romans 8:37 says we are more than conquerors through him who loved us, not barely surviving, not white-knuckling through life, more than conquerors. But here's the key. It's through him, not through your own strength, through Christ. David was no stranger to danger, nor was he unfamiliar with experiencing God's mighty hand of deliverance. God did bring David out of that difficult situation and made him walk upon the plateau. David was an overcomer. Will you be an overcomer? This has been a devotion for motion. Thank you. Before we wrap up, if this video helped you grow spiritually, make sure to like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell so you don't miss the next devotion. In every heart, there's a longing for something beyond the horizon, a quiet sense that we were made to walk a deeper path. The Pilgrim Preacher writes for those who feel that call. Hey, looking for more faith-filled content? Click the next video and continue this journey with me.